Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tough Tony here, and today I wanted to touch base on a subject which, if you have watched Monday Night Raw last night, you would know. Edge is retiring. Yes, Adam Copeland is retiring from, I don't know if it's from wrestling, period, or just the WWE. But I just wanted to touch base on some of the negative drawbacks of Edge's retirement and the positive draws of Edge's retirement. First off, let me go on to say that I am not a huge fan of Edge. I'm not an Edge head, as I think that's what his fan base is called. But I can call a spade a spade. Edge has done more for the SmackDown brand than anybody else in the WWE's history. Well, WWE SmackDown history, I should say. Um, and it's pretty hard to go back in time and pick some of the greatest matches in the WWE and Edge not be a part of them. Edge has been in the illustrious tables, ladders, and chair matches. He's been in numerous matches in his career. Um, and I do a lot of, well, I used to, I'm going to probably start back up again. I've done a lot of reviews for their pay-per-view. And I'm not as hard on Edge as I am on the other WWE guys because the thing is, Edge is, because of his injuries to his neck and everything, Edge can't compete to the level that we have seen him compete, like '01 and '02. But he has the capability to put on a good match on a pay-per-view to pay-per-view basis. I can't say the same thing for the other guys that they have in WWE's main event. Um, Excuse me one moment. But the negatives of Edge leaving. First, you decreased a veteran in the WWE SmackDown locker room. You figure Rey Mysterio's, I don't know how old he is, but he's getting up there. And from what I've been hearing, that a lot of guys, a lot of boys in the back don't like how he handles his backstage business. So I'm pretty sure not many people are going to be looking up to Rey anytime soon. Not to mention The Undertaker was wheeled out on a stretcher at WrestleMania. Triple H is one step away from, even though he's not, who knows what locker room Triple H goes in and out of, but he's one step away from another fucking quad injury, and Undertaker's always out injured. People are going to look up to Kane, so you don't have that. They don't have a veteran in the locker room, and SmackDown does have a lot of young guys there, and they probably need someone like Edge to show them the ropes. That's a downside. Another downside is that I'm hoping to God that when 90 days are up, this motherfucker doesn't show up in TNA. And Mr. Adam Copeland, I don't know if you watch YouTube, or I know you probably do, but I don't know if you'll see this video, but I'm begging you, please do not fucking go to TNA. You go to TNA, but I wouldn't say it's as much negative for Edge as it is for TNA itself, because you figure you hire in another guy who's 36, 37, who's damn near 40. He's injured. He's in bad shape. He can't wrestle to the point that you want him to. And you're going to add another $5 million plus the payroll that y'all can't afford right now. So to be dumb from a business standpoint, I mean, Edge can draw. He will draw because TNA does need a major star like Edge who's not as selfish as, Batista. Or Jericho. Well, I won't say Jericho's selfish. Jericho just doesn't get the bookings that he deserves. But, and by the way, I don't watch Dancing with the Stars. I don't watch any of that bullshit. It's bad enough I'm still watching wrestling. But anyway, he could open up things in TNA, but of course he'll come in there for 3 months. He'll be the talk of the town. Then he'll be demoted to mid-card status. Then they have him doing total shit because TNA's creative team doesn't know how to manage their fucking talent. But anyway, don't go to TNA Edge. There's no other negatives besides those two that I can think of, but there's a lot of positive aspects of Edge leaving, retiring. One positive is that they can WWE, as far as they can rebuild. I'm not saying rebuild SmackDown, but they can do a lot of stuff with SmackDown. They could pretty much, because SmackDown is where mostly the young talent is. Edge is not there, so that's another old guy that you have phased out of the main event picture, so you can finally give these young guys who've been busting their ass for 5 years, who haven't amounted to anything besides intercontinental titles or U.S. titles, which are pretty much fucking meaningless these days. You can finally start interjecting these guys into the main event. Speaking of main events, I was kind of pissed on how SmackDown ended last Friday with the, Alberto beating Christian with an enziguri. I don't know what this does for the main event at Extreme Rules, because I would love for them to give Christian the much needed push that he deserves. And I've always, through the past couple years, I've always liked Christian. I'm not a fan of most guys. I'm not really a fan of anybody. I mean, Christian's not a main eventer, but I'm not really a fan of anybody in WWE's main event currently. And I'm not really that much of a fan of many of the guys on WWE's roster anyway. The only reason I am a fan of some of the guys on the roster is because I've seen them wrestled elsewhere outside of the WWE's promotional machine, and I know what they have to offer. It's such a damn fucking shame that WWE doesn't give these guys that little bit of time to bring something better to the table. The WWE always wants to dampen and water down everyone's style. It's fucking shitty. So this could really change SmackDown for the better. You can finally see guys like Kingston or Wade Barrett, or, well, not as much Ezekiel Jackson. Ezekiel Jackson has a lot of shit working against him in the main event. But they could do a lot with SmackDown. Maybe they could have Christian, the new guy to lead it all. Because, I mean, he's been there wrestling longer, just as long as anybody. I like to wish Edge. I would like to wish Edge I would like to wish him well on every future venture that he holds. You won't have any of my support if you go to TNA, because I don't even watch TNA. I read what's going to happen on their show like 4 days before the show goes on the air. So I've never really physically watched TNA in a couple months. I've watched their pay-per-view. And if you think I should do a pay-per-view for TNA review, a TNA pay-per-view review, maybe, but it's up to y'all guys. If y'all want me to, I will, but I really don't want to subject you to that kind of madness. Edge, you will be sorely missed. And I hope that WWE is going in the right direction, because you see you have R-Truth in the main event. Hopefully WWE is finally getting their heads out of their ass and decides to put better matches on and do a much better job at promoting their superstars. And I see Edge is out there actually wrestling against the younger talent, giving them title shots, unlike the people do on Raw when it's the same motherfuckers over and over and over again. But I have friends who are huge Edge fans, and I know that you leaving will upset them immensely. But you were great for the WWE. I hope you go down in history as one of the greatest WWE has ever had. As you're sure, I care more about Edge's well-being than I would on Randy Orton's well-being, or state of the company, or John Cena, or The Miz for that matter. But I'm wishing that Edge will go out a good way. Like, I would love for him to have a match with Christian for the world title and have Christian win it. I don't know if they're gonna make him drop the title before the pay-per-view or drop it at. Because if he's retiring, it's pretty obvious to say that Alberto Del Rio is gonna be our new world heavyweight champion. Oh my God. And that's gonna be fucking awful. But anyway, Edge, thank you for the... Damn, you've been in the company for long time. I mean, you've been in the company for 11, 12 years. You've been in the company for WWE for like 12 years, and you've won the title 11 times, I think, or more. But congratulations to everything that you have accomplished. I wish you well on everything that you do. And don't end up being another old guy like The Undertaker or Triple H or Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan that's constantly grasping for straws because they're so fucking desperate. Don't be one of those guys. Just go out in your prime like you are so nobody will have anything to say about you. This is Tough Tony Amp, and I will see you next time.